You're watching Ticket TV. Like, share, and subscribe on your way in. All right, you guys. Melania Trump in a world of a situation right now. So we came in here and we've been talking about, on our network, we've been talking about this entire situation surrounding Melania Trump, her coming, doing a speech out of the blue, off the cuff. We've all been talking about this, wondering why did she do it? What happened? Why did she come out and just state all those things that she stated in that interview, or not interview, I should say, in that speech that she did that was sort of like last second type of thing. And she came out and made that speech about how she wasn't connected to Epstein and she didn't know him. She wasn't on his plane. She's not a victim. She's none of these things. Well, there's a guy by the name of Michael Wolff. There's a guy by the name of Michael Wolff. Okay. And Michael Wolff, he works for the Daily Beast. And I told you guys the other day that the Daily Beast put out an article, scathing article, basically combating everything Melania Trump said after she went up on the podium. Michael Wolff, the author of that article, or not that article, but the author of a book that he was writing, interviewed Jeffrey Epstein 2 years before Jeffrey Epstein passed away. And in that interview, Jeffrey Epstein, according to Michael Wolff, gave him a lot of different allegations and information um, that he alleged about Donald and Melania Trump, which combated damn near everything Melania Trump said on the stage the other day when she addressed the country. Now it's all been revealed. And I told you guys, uh, when I heard Gloria Allred, who's the lawyer for many of Epstein's victims, she's the lawyer. When I heard her speaking on national TV, and I heard her say and speak about some of the reasoning why Melania would be coming out, she made a statement that stuck with me. And that statement that she made that stuck with me was basically she came out and said that, well, hey, since Melania is leading the charge, maybe, it's best that she go before the committee and testify under the penalty of perjury, right? And then she says, Because, I mean, if she's getting sued, she's going to have to anyways. If there's a lawsuit, I said lawsuit. So I immediately started thinking, who is suing Melania Trump? Who could be suing Melania Trump? Well, could it be one of the alleged victims? Well, we found out everything today. Now, if you went back and you listened to Melania Trump's message, Melania Trump said in that message that I'm going to let you hear what she said, because today something just happened that's going to blow everything out of this water. And I could not believe it. And I have it right here. So I want you guys to listen to what she said again. And when you listen to what she said again, then you will understand that I didn't put no words in her mouth. And I want to do this so that the entire world knows I didn't put any words in this woman's mouth. Let's roll it.
Good afternoon. The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance.
Now, ask yourself this question. We got to stop it right there before we get into this. Why is she saying all that? Why is she saying I'm not Epstein's victim? He didn't introduce me to Donald Trump. All of these different, listen to what she's saying, y'all. I didn't have a relationship with him. She said something else too. I want y'all to listen because it just went down. I'm about to show y'all.
I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania.
In your book. So she's now fighting how she even met Donald Trump. And you're thinking, hold on, why the hell is she fighting all this? Like, who in the blue hell would just come out here, the first lady, and worry about what people saying on social media or online or on the news? Ladies and gentlemen, Melania Trump is being sued. Melania Trump is being sued by a major big dog. And I'm about to give y'all all the information right now. And the big dog who's suing her has spoken out. And it is absolutely unbelievable. Now, Melania Trump, she claims that she is innocent. And by law, she is innocent unless proven otherwise in a court of law. But this is wild. And I want y'all to listen a little bit more before I show y'all and tell y'all what's going on with the person that's suing Melania Trump. This is crazy, and y'all need to tap into this.
Yeah. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge.
And I have a question. How did Melania get to the States? Who introduced her to bring her to the States? I would like to know that entire story. I don't know. I have to go look that up, that entire story of her coming to the States. Because she said she met Trump at a party in 98. She said she didn't meet Epstein until 2000. That's not what Epstein said, but Melania is saying that those are lies and that's slander. That's what Melania is saying. But listen up very closely, because she said this, and now it all just went down. Shout out to the boy, the Diddy Docket, for putting this information out too.
Of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island.
Now listen, she's saying all these things. And you're saying, now pay attention, y'all. Why is she saying all these specific details? Unless there is a lawsuit. And all of the country never knew that there was an ongoing lawsuit behind the scenes. And you're about to hear about this whole situation right here, right now. If you don't hit the like button and share the video, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Because what I'm about to tell you guys is going to blow your socks off. Now, she went on specifics and says, I was never on his plane. I never was a victim. I never did any crimes with him. I never been convicted. I'm like, what? What is all this? Why is she just coming out here saying this? Listen a little bit further, and you're going to find out.
I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking.
I've never been. Why is she talking about sex trafficking? Why is she talking about being linked to a crime? I just ask yourself, who comes out the blue and says all these things? Nobody that we know, nobody really talking about Melania Trump. So everybody was like, why did she come out and say this now? Like, ain't Trump trying to get away from this? But Gloria Allred said it on TV the other day. She said something. And she says, hey, I mean, if Melania Trump is getting sued by somebody, she gonna have to go do a sworn deposition anyways. She might as well go and get subpoenaed. And that stuck with me. In the other segment, we talked about that. And I said, hold on, man. And I thought, this woman out here giving out specifics, but ain't nobody out here in the public. I haven't seen anything. It's got to be something going on private. And then it dropped. But right before we get to this lawsuit, I'm going to show you this.
Abuse of minors and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my...
They always say politically motivated. They try to that's their number one argument. It's politically motivated. Do you think she even wrote that? And you know what I'm starting to think, you guys? I'm starting to think that maybe Trump may have known about her going out there. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Trump has a lot of loyalists around him. All those people around him are loyal. If Melania Trump went out there and did that without Trump's position, she'd have fired all their asses. Donald Trump would have got rid of all of them. Nobody does anything without Donald Trump permission. That's how I see it. Now, could I be wrong? Maybe. Do I think I'm wrong? I doubt it. I doubt it. Think about that, y'all. They said they talked to Donald, and he said, "Oh, I didn't know it." Hold on, man. Anything Donald Trump say about anything, I don't believe that dude. Anything he say, it's in reverse, in my opinion. I don't believe anything he say. And so let me tell y'all something. She said, and I'm going to say this to y'all right now, because she kept saying, people who are politically motivated trying to destroy me, ain't nobody even thinking about you except for, now that the Epstein files don't came out and you had an email and they're saying Epstein made some allegations about you. And, listen, y'all, it's going down. Everybody listen.
A good name to gain financially and climb politically must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me.
Okay, well, guess what? The first company she says is the Daily Beast. As soon as she did that press conference, the Daily Beast dropped another article saying, and they debunked everything she said in that press conference. The Daily Beast dropped, as soon as she walked away from the podium, she said these companies and entities were forced to apologize. I didn't see no apology from the Daily Beast. In fact, when she got the stage, the Daily Beast went out, put that article out, and went in on her even more. And that's the missing piece, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to blow your mind. Listen just one more time.
Such as Daily Beast, James Carville.
Daily Beast. Such as the Daily Beast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been revealed that there is a lawsuit. There is a lawsuit that has currently been filed against Melania Trump. Michael Wolff, the man who interviewed Jeffrey Epstein, he had the book Fire and Fury, and he interviewed Epstein. And all those quotes came from Jeffrey Epstein's interview with Michael Wolff, alleging that Melania and Trump first got it on his plane. And Melania says that she wasn't on the plane. But Michael Wolff, in that audio he has, in that interview he did with Epstein, says in the Daily Beast article that they were on that plane and that they allegedly did have relations. That's what he said. So let me tell you what's going on right now. Michael Wolff has filed an anti-Slapp lawsuit against the First Lady of the Presidency of the United States of America, Melania Trump. And when you hear about what's going on, according to Michael Wolff, it is going to shake the foundation of this country. It was so serious that Melania Trump likely is the reason, not 100% certain, but likely that's the reason she came out and did that press conference to the world, because the nervousness is kicking in because of what you're about to find out right now. Michael Wolff filed an anti-SLAPP lawsuit against Melania Trump back in October of last year. So this has been going on quietly, behind the scenes and brewing. He filed it in New York Supreme Court in Manhattan. If I can ever get my hands on that lawsuit, and you better believe, you better believe I'm trying to get my hands on it right now. You better believe I'm trying to get my hands on it. If I get my hands on it right now, oh my God. If I can get my hands on it right now, I'm going to try to get my hands on the full one. But I have some of the details. And I'm going to tell you guys right now what's going on. And then I'm going to let you hear from his side what's going on. So, Michael Wolff is suing her personally. The Daily Beast is not a party to the lawsuit as a plaintiff or a defendant. The case stems from Michael Wolff's public comments that linked Melania to Jeffrey Epstein's social circle via modeling connections in the early 1990s, early 2000s, in the 1990s, in early 2000s, which he made to the Daily Beast in a now retracted article on its Inside Trump's Head podcast, which Michael Wolff himself co-hosts. Melania's lawyers threatened him with a $1 billion defamation suit, in which he claims was a slap. Now, what's a slap, y'all? A slap is a strategic lawsuit against public participation intended to intimidate and silence his reporting on the Trump's Epstein ties. Michael Wolff preemptively turned around and sued Melania Trump under New York's anti-SLAPP laws to protect free speech and gain. Let me repeat this to y'all. This was surgical, what he did. Michael Wolff sued her with the anti-SLAPP lawsuit. When he did, Melania Trump's lawyers reportedly threatened him with a $1 billion plus defamation lawsuit, which he claims was a SLAPP, the strategic lawsuit against public participation. He claims it was a SLAPP that was intended to intimidate and silence his reporting on the Trump's Epstein ties. Now, Michael Wolff preemptively, that means he got ahead of the story. But listen to what he did, because it was diabolical. He preemptively sued Melania Trump under New York's anti-SLAPP laws to not only protect free speech, but also to gain subpoena power for depositions. That is what Gloria Allred was talking about in that interview, the lawyer for Epstein's victims. She says, well, if Melania is getting sued, she would have to talk about this in a sworn deposition anyways. Michael Wolff getting ahead of Melania Trump may potentially gain subpoena power for sworn depositions from Melania Trump. You know what that means. Michael Wolff, who interviewed Jeffrey Epstein extensively over the years, told the Daily Beast that Melania Trump was very involved in the circle. This appeared in an article headlined something like Melania Trump very involved in Epstein scandal. Author: Epstein and Donald Trump were social acquaintances in the 90s, early 2000s, including photos with Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago in 2000, but neither Trump has faced criminal accusations related to his crimes, except for the allegations that we saw that Donald Trump and these people say that are lies in the Epstein files. But wait, after the article and related podcast comments, Melania Trump's attorney, Alejandro Brito, sent Michael Wolff a threat letter around mid-October 2025. He demanded a retraction, an apology according to the reports, and a monetary settlement. It cited the statements as false, defamatory, disparaging, misleading, and inflammatory, and threatened a $1 billion lawsuit. The Daily Beast retracted the article shortly after receiving that letter, posting an editor's note that it did not meet our standards and apologizing for any confusion. Michael Wolff has maintained his statements were taken out of context and not defamatory. Melania's team has repeatedly called Michael Wolff a serial liar whose claims forced retractions. His lawsuit that was filed in October 2025 in the New York Supreme Court, State Court, Anti-Slapp lawsuit accusing Melania of filing and threatening a frivolous action to harass, intimidate, and suppress Wolff's First Amendment rights and legitimate journalistic inquiry into Epstein-Trump connections. His key goal, once Melania was served with that lawsuit, Michael Wolff gains subpoena power to depose her and potentially Donald Trump or others under oath about their Epstein ties. Michael Wolff has publicly stated that he wants sworn answers on this dark curtain, and he has raised over $775,000 to $800,000 via a GoFundMe from 25,000 donors to fund it. Michael Wolff's suit explicitly notes the threat was for the sole purpose of harassing, intimidating, punishing, or otherwise maliciously inhibiting Mr. Wolff's free exercise of speech. Now, according to certain reports, Melania has been difficult to serve this suit to, as she's the first lady with security. Attempts at the Trump Tower NY were refused by staff, who confirm allegedly that she does live there, and her Florida lawyer declined papers. Wolff filed a motion for alternative service to deem her served. Melania's team claims that they have a Florida residency, meaning a driver's license, voting, Mar-a-Lago ties, and wants the case moved there or to a federal court. Wolff argues she lives full-time in New York in Trump Tower, citing her own statements in the Melania documentary that New York is where her heart is. Minimal Florida evidence and her separate life from the president. He calls this the question of the day in his lawsuit. Melania and her team, initially her lawyer Brito, and later adding another high-powered lawyer by the name of DLA Piper, lawyers, including a former Gorsuch clerk, moved to dismiss Michael Wolff's lawsuit as a publicity stunt and frivolous, or transfer it to a federal court and potentially in Florida, which would have, they say, been seen more favorable. They argue, Trump's team, that improper service due to her status and that Wolff's fundraising public comments show malice. Wolff responded and opposed removal and dismissal. He filed to remand back to state court, arguing there's no federal issues. As of recent discussions, a federal judge is deciding on whether a dismissal, remand, and related motions. Melania's side has allegedly been accused of using delay tactics. As of today, there's been no final ruling, no depositions yet. Melania has not been served in a way that can fully advance the case. Michael Wolff continues discussing it on the Daily Beast podcast, calling it a potential tool against perceived White House pressure on speech. Recent coverage ties it to the new Epstein file release and Melania's public statements denying ties. Melania's team, her spokespeople, and lawyers portray the lawsuit as meritless, malicious, and attention-seeking. They note prior Daily Beast retractions and emphasize Wolff's history of controversial Donald Trump books, Fire and Fury. One statement, Michael Wolff is a serial liar, they say, who is malicious, defamatory, and false statements have forced the Daily Beast to make multiple retractions. But the man himself spoke. The man himself spoke. And ladies and gentlemen, I have that lawsuit in front of my face. I have that lawsuit when it was filed. And man, oh man, oh man, Lord have mercy. It is not looking good. In fact, I'm going to do y'all one better. I'm going to show you the lawsuit as soon as we get through this. Now, for this part, and this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is very, 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 very scary. And I want to
protect and control her version of
now,
her.
He says, this is Michael Wolff making his allegations. Now, Melania Trump has spoken her side. She said it's malicious. She said that it's not right. She is innocent unless proven guilty if it ever gets to a court of law. But I will let you hear Michael Wolff's side right now.
The thing is, and that we have to say, and everybody is an expert, everybody is pronouncing why. The truth is, nobody knows. Nobody knows, but you do have an ongoing legal case against her, so this is a good time to catch up with it. The recap is that I received a threatening letter from Melania and Melania's lawyers about things I had said linking her to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, she puts out these letters on an almost at this point industrial scale. They go out. I mean, the Daily Beast has gotten them before. This particular letter was directly to me, but there are other people who actually always, as soon as somebody gets these letters, then they call me and say, "Oh, what do we do?" Um, and But anyway, I got this letter, and then my attorney. And give us a time, Michael. Give us a time frame. When did you get the letter? October. So the end of October, I got this letter, and and this is. I mean, it's kind of scary. You get a letter from the first lady, and effectively from the president's lawyers. He has this is a pattern. This is a pattern, and people have large media organizations. I am not obviously a large media organization, but large media organizations have gotten these letters from the president, and they have folded. They've wilted. They've paid more than tens of millions of dollars because of these threats. So I got this.
That's wow. So he's saying, he's alleging that they have already gotten tens of millions of dollars because media companies have folded under the pressure of being sued. And they just went ahead and just paid settlements and backed off. Versus, no, I'm standing on journalism. I'm standing on freedom of speech. That's what Michael Wolff is saying. Now let's hear what else he's saying about this situation.
$1 billion threat. I have long-standing relationships with First Amendment lawyers because I'm a writer, and I called my lawyers. I said, "What do we do here?" And they were rightly appalled. I mean, you have the First Lady of the United States using the power of the presidency to basically intimidate someone who is saying things that she or the president does not want said. And there is virtually nothing that I said that would be considered libelous in any kind of strict legal understanding of what libel is. So my attorney said, well, in New York State, actually, to intimidate like this, to make these kinds of threats just to keep you from saying what you have every right to say is illegal. It's called a SLAPP action, and there is in New York State anti-SLAPP laws. You can't do this. It's just not. It's just a thing that you do not, in the United States of America, we understand should not be done. So instead of waiting for her to sue me, which we turned around and sued her under the SLAPP laws in the state of New York. So that happened the end of October, and that has now been and then I launched a GoFundMe campaign.
So I'm starting to think, you guys, I'm starting to think that it got real closer. Like it must be getting to a contentious point now. Because why would she come out now? In my opinion, it probably got to a very contentious point to where I don't know if it's him or maybe it's somebody else. That's why I said you never know which one it is, but she obviously has this one. She's had this one going on since October. So he goes on to tell y'all, and you guys hit the like button, share the videos, y'all come in here. He goes on to tell you that he went and got a GoFundMe to help pay for this.
Which raised an enormous amount of money. I mean, from more than 25,000 individual donors, we raised more than $800,000, which has certainly sent a message to the First Lady. I mean, it means that we can continue this legal action against her for quite a long time. And so we are now, and these things creep along. I mean, it's astounding how slowly they go. They made a motion to bring the case into federal court. We're in state court. We filed a suit in state court. They moved to move it to federal court, which is their right. But then the federal court has to ascertain whether it is properly before the federal court. And that is where it is now. There are a set of motions before a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, who happens to be a Trump-appointed judge. And whether that's a factor or not, we don't. Whether that will be a factor, we don't know. But it is, and this is now for almost close to 8 weeks before this judge in federal court, and the issues before her are their side. They have moved to dismiss the case. Of course, we don't believe there's much a chance of that. They've also moved to.
Oh, you heard what he said? He said they've moved to dismiss the case. He says he doesn't think there's much of a chance they can dismiss the case. And based off of Melania's reaction, man, bro, it's making me think, I don't know, man. This thing getting spooky around here, bro. It's getting real spooky. But, he goes on. He goes on.
Remove the case to Florida, which would be a more advantageous jurisdiction for them. We, in turn, have moved to remand the case to state court. And our position there is it should be in state court because there are no federal issues, and the fact that it might properly be in federal court if she were a citizen of Florida and I was a citizen of New York. But we are arguing that that's a lie, that she is actually a citizen of New York. She spends most of her time here. All her business interests are here. Her family is here. Anything that would constitute a citizen relationship with a particular state is here. And that's well documented, and that evidence, or the evidence that we have gathered, is before the court. And now we've asked, if the court is not satisfied, to let us have discovery, which is to ask her for all kinds of documentary evidence, including her prenuptial agreement, for instance. The other
that's wow. So he's saying that they want discuss. He wants to get this lawsuit cracking because he wants to ask her all of these questions. He wants to get all of this information. He even wants to get prenuptial information. He wants to get a copy of their prenup. That's wild, bro. That is wild. He wants to get a copy of their prenup. He wants to get a copy of her, bro. Man, y'all, this is crazy.
You've asked Melania Trump for her. Let's also just back up here. We've just asked for discovery, and that's one of the things the judge has to decide on these issues. We're waiting for that decision, which might and should come any day now.
Oh shit! This is crazy. This got to be the reason why. So this man is saying he's asking for discovery, and this could come any day now. And I got my hands on the whole lawsuit, y'all. If you guys want me to read that lawsuit to y'all in a few minutes, hit the like button and press 1 in that comment section. I'm going to read that lawsuit. Man, this is crazy. So he's saying that this could be this. This is crazy.
Are their side. They have moved to dismiss the case. Of course, we don't believe there's much a chance of that. They've also moved to remove the case to Florida, which would be a more advantageous jurisdiction for them. We, in turn, have moved to remand the case to state court, and our position there is it should be in state court because there are no federal issues, and and the fact that it might properly be in federal court if she were a citizen of Florida and I was a citizen of New York. But we are arguing that that's a lie, that she is actually a citizen of New York. She spends most of her time here. All her business interests are here. Her family is here. Anything that would constitute a citizen relationship with a particular state is here. And we've that's well documented, and that evidence, or the evidence that we have gathered, is before the court. And now we've asked, if the court is not satisfied, to let us have discovery, which is to ask her for all kinds of documentary evidence, including her prenuptial agreement, for instance. The other,
you've asked Melania Trump for her. Let's also just back up here.
We've just asked for discovery, and that's one of the things the judge has to decide on these issues. We're waiting for that decision, which might and should come any day now.
So he's saying a decision on whether the judge is going to give him discovery on Melania Trump could be coming any day now. This is crazy. Now, I'm wondering why she went up there and got on that stage. Gloria already said it on TV. She said, "Hey, if you getting sued, I mean, you're gonna have to say all this in a sworn deposition anyways. You might as well go ahead and say it in front of the House committee." I said, "What, man?" So this dude was smart. He went and sued her on the anti-Slapp laws, y'all, so that he could gain subpoena control. That means he can subpoena the people that he needs to subpoena as pertaining to this situation. So potentially, if he wanted to subpoena Donald Trump, Trump may have to go under oath. And that's what he wants. What Michael Wolff wants, he wants to get them under oath. So this has all been cooking behind the scenes for the last few months, and we didn't even know. So she must really be feeling the pressure. Really be feeling the pressure to come out and make that speech. Because like he said, any day now, the judge can rule on that. And if the judge does rule in his favor, man, it's going to get disgusting. If they go to discovery and the judge grants him his wish to get all of this different information on Melania, where he like he said, she would potentially have to even give up her prenup agreement to the courts. That's crazy. That is, this is probably the biggest story that's going on right now, and it's crazy work, bro. Let's keep going.
So is that the reason that she has stepped forward? This is the first time a first lady would have sued journalists or media organizations who are saying things about her. We understand the law provides for, almost, I don't think there's any instance of a president or the first lady suing the media. Now, this has gone on repeatedly in the Trump years, of course, and we should go on. The first lady, this has been really interesting, and I think that this is a key part of this. From the beginning, she has fiercely tried to protect and control her version of her life after she came to New York in the 1990s. Now that whole story, that whole narrative has many confusing details. How did she come here? Who brought her here? Under what legal auspices?
See? Stop right there. It's getting diabolical. Y'all hit the like button. See all the questions he's asking? He gonna want to know all this in the sworn deposition. He said the ruling could be coming any day now. He expecting the ruling. So is that why she got so crazy or nervous or just feeling away that she went before the whole country and said all of these things. But what happens that they have to unveil all that private information that would have never been brought to light? But one man had enough heart to fight it, and he went and sued her. So if he goes and gets discovery and she has to give a deposition sworn under the penalty of perjury, that's the real reason. Him suing her, he gives him a position to where if the case goes forward, he gets deposition power, meaning that he gets to control that aspect where his lawyers get to sit her down for as long as they need and ask her every single question. And she would have to answer every question sworn under oath. That's what he wants to do. And he also wants to get those records because he could then try to get her all her records. Did you hear what he just said? He said things about finding out. And I told y'all this. I always wanted to know how she got here. Bro, I don't even want to say that on this tape. Let's keep going.
Should, might, and should come any day now. So is that the reason that she has stepped forward? This is the first time a first lady would have sued journalists or media organizations who are saying things about her. We understand the law provides for, almost, I don't think there's any instance of a president or the first lady suing the media. Now, this has gone on repeatedly in the Trump years, of course, and we should go on. The first lady, this has been really interesting, and I think that this is a key part of this. From the beginning, she has fiercely tried to protect and control her version of her life after she came to New York.
Listen to what he said. He said she's trying to control her version. He didn't say the truth. He said she's trying to control her version of her life since she first came to New York. He didn't say she's tried to preserve the truth. He said her version. Listen to every single word that's being used.
1990s. Now that whole story, that whole narrative has many confusing details. How did she come here? Who brought her here? Under what legal?
Michael Wolff trying to cook. He said, who brought her here? How did she get here? Under what pretenses or circumstances did she get here? Michael Wolff trying to cook. I'm telling you, I truly believe she felt something. For her to get up and out of the blue address the nation and say all the things she said, a storm is coming. A storm is coming. And this dude asking all those questions, man, it's getting spooky around here. And guess what? We don't know how much more information Michael Wolff got. Michael Wolff did a lot of talking to Jeffrey Epstein before he died. He did a lot of talking to Jeffrey Epstein. Who knows what Epstein may have told that man or given that man. Remember, Melania said there's fake images and all these things out there of her. I haven't seen no fake images. I would like to see them. Most of the images I saw look like they're real, but I don't know if she's talking about stuff that we haven't seen. And she's trying to say that those aren't real. Remember, there were a lot of redacted photos and there were a lot of redacted pages in those files. We will never see who's in them. Or maybe we will. Hold on now. Let's keep going.
Auspices. How did she work here? I mean, many details, which are, might be, that might have answers that she does not want the public to know, and that might be kind of complicated for her. So what she has done to do that is she has used the legal system to shut down questions about her life here. Notably, she sued the Daily Mail, which suggested that she might have been an escort in New York.
That's not me accusing you of that, Melania. I'm not accusing you of that. Michael Wolff said that. I can't prove that Melania did that. I can't prove it. But that was Michael Wolff who said that about the Daily Mail and that report. So I didn't say that. Lord have mercy. It's getting scary around here, y'all. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's getting scary around here. Play that again.
Things about her. We understand the law provides for. I mean, almost. I don't think there's any instance of a president or the first lady suing the media. Now, this has gone on repeatedly in the Trump years, of course, and we should go on. The first lady. This has been really interesting, and I think that this is a key part of this. From the beginning, she has fiercely tried to protect and control her version of her life after she came to New York in the 1990s. Now that whole story, that whole narrative has many confusing details. How did she come here? Who brought her here? Under what legal auspices? How did she work here? I mean, many details, which are, might be, that might have answers that she does not want the public to know, and that might be kind of complicated for her. So what she has done to do that is she has used the legal system to shut down questions about her life here. Notably, she sued the Daily Mail, which suggested that she might have been an escort in New York. The Daily Mail settled letter after letter after letter, threat after threat after threat to anyone who brings up this subject. So in the past, where we understood that someone was the president of the United States or someone was the first lady, they were, the public has a right to know. The public has a right to discuss. The public has the right to speculate. The public has a right to literally say anything they want about these people who have such power in our lives. So this is a moment in time when the president and the first lady have decided, we're going to push back about that. We're in control. You are not.
This finna get scary with this guy. You guys, y'all hit that like button as you guys are listening to this. If you aren't subscribed, man, this is crazy, bro. This man right here, he have to have something, bro. In my opinion, he probably sitting on some stuff that don't nobody got. And I think that he wants to get into a court setting or some type of setting to where he can make her have to expose certain things she don't want to expose about herself, information about herself. I think this dude wants to, I think he wants to make this a world spectacle in front of for everybody to see.
Well, and particularly notable was her documentary. Of course, the president now refers to his wife as a movie star. When asked who she was at the Easter egg hunt roll by a child, he said, "Oh, that's a movie star. She's a movie star." But she had a full documentary when she could have addressed some of these issues, and instead the entire documentary focuses on 20 days only in the run-up to the inauguration. So there's There's no answer to the question that I think most people are fascinated and puzzled by, which is how did she, as a model, get an Einstein visa, a visa which accepts that you are a person of exceptional merit, to move here? Because we know that she wasn't actually a supermodel. She definitely was a model. She did catalogs, but she wasn't a supermodel. So how she got the Einstein visa for exceptional ability remains a puzzle.
Man, boy, she better hope they don't win this motion. If the judge grant them, if the judge grant the motion that he gets discovery, it's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get disgusting, bro. Let me say this again to everybody that's listening. If the judge rules that he can get discovery, it would explain to me why she is on edge, because a lot of different things would have to come out. And now he's questioning, and they're questioning, how did she get a certain visa when she wasn't a supermodel? She was just like a model, but she wasn't no supermodel. She wasn't nobody that said that was not well known like that at all. How did she get? That's what they're saying. Me personally, I don't know. I wasn't there. I have questions though.
And let's open that up a little more, because I think the movie is important, or the documentary, because what it does, what it inaugurates, is a Melania business. It's Melania the brand, and she is busy building a Melania brand business of extensions and how to exploit her own name, how to monetize her own name and her own position. And she's created the documentary is an advertorial, really. It's not documenting. It's certainly not a documentary to inform us who she is. It's a documentary to create the illusion of what she wants to be, a branding opportunity. And
so, how is she branding herself, though? What is her brand? What does it stand for?
Well, I would be hard pressed to say. It stands, but it seems to be. It stands for she's a glamorous woman who is somehow connected to an enormous amount of power. I mean, what else is there? I don't know. And it's this name. What are brands? It's name recognition. I mean, she has a book. She put out a book, Melania the book. Now Melania the movie. So this is taking really a kind of a Trump approach. Just put your name on everything. Notably, not the name Trump, the name Melania.
Right. So it seemed to me very clearly. Well, there are so many questions that this statement throws into the air. Not least, why is she dragging attention back to the very issue that will not leave her husband alone, but very briefly, because of the war, has actually taken a back seat? We know that this is an issue that enrages him, that we know that he and Jeffrey Epstein continues now to unfold as the most diabolical man in America over the last 20 years, that he and Jeffrey Epstein were very close. There are pictures of them all hanging out together. Jeffrey Epstein, Melania Trump, Donald Trump, and Ghislaine Maxwell, now, of course, in jail for 20 years for sex trafficking. So why is she dragging the attention back to this?
Well, that is the question which nobody can satisfactorily answer. There are the theory, the perfectly reasonable theory, that she is getting out ahead of something. The PR point of view. If you know that something disparaging is coming about you, you should be the one to say it or to anticipate it and try to modify it or to head it off. So that may be, and a lot of people are speculating about a lot of possible issues, and we should get into that. But the other thing that it could, I mean, it certainly feels like, is that it could be a direct dig, an assault against her husband. Who is this bad for? Who is it bad for the most? And it would seem to be Donald Trump. This is bringing back an issue that I mean, certainly hadn't gone away, but it had been muted, at least for the past number of weeks of the war. And here we are, front and center. No bigger issue today, and for the coming days or weeks, again, than Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship to the president and the first lady.
And the president yesterday.
Man, this dude going hard in the paint, man. Bro, he is digging. And you know, they say something. They say when you dig, you damn sure might find something, man. And he is digging deep.
That he'd had a sort of 2-minute conversation with her about whether or not she was going to do this. He sort of sensed, or he tried to give the impression that he knew she was going to give some kind of statement, but he didn't know how. And then he said, well, if he'd been doing it, he might not have done it like this. So he seemed somewhat nonplussed by the fact that she'd done that. It seemed to come as a surprise, certainly to the regular press corps who cover the White House. Often you get a hint of what the speech is going to be beforehand. People knew that she was booked to make a speech. That was in the White House diary, but no one expected this. It was as if she deliberately kept it secret.
I suspect that he was completely caught off guard by this because it's so, I mean, from left field. So, yeah, I would say he knew nothing about this. And also, remember, part of this statement was this invitation to Congress to go deeper, to investigate more, to actually investigate, the son of a bitch, her husband.
Damn.
So if you're Donald Trump and you're thinking,
bro, this dude got beef with them, bro. This dude called them, and you can't get mad because Donald Trump been calling people that. Donald Trump called Colin Kaepernick that. Can't get mad. Donald Trump can't come out and say, hey, man, he's slandering me, calling me that. Nah, that ain't how it works. You said the same thing to Colin Kaepernick in front of a nationally televised, in front of a big-ass audience. Now you got somebody that look like you telling you that. Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. And he coming for smoke.
Well, who knows what's there? We're inside his head trying to figure out what he's thinking about the Strait of Hormuz.
Well,
and then someone calls and says,
he's not inside his wife's head.
Well, I was going to say, how did he see it? Did someone call him and say, sir, you need to be watching, you should be, just switch on the news? He's always watching the news anyway, so maybe it wasn't a surprise to him because she suddenly pops up and there she is. But as you say, nobody has talked about anything else because, which of course means that there are all sorts of conspiracies going around about why this should happen. One is the case that you have. The second is the strange case of Paolo Zampoli, the owner of a modeling agency, who says, and according to Melania, he says he introduced Melania to Donald Trump at a party he was having. And that is the official version of how they met, as written in her book, Melania.
Yes, and Zampoli, of course, had a relationship with Epstein at the time. I mean, this whole the modeling world. I mean, we're right in the middle of this modeling world of the 1990s, the dirty 1990s, in which everybody kind of knows everybody in this relatively tight-knit modeling world. Everybody is investing with everybody. Epstein is investing in in modeling agencies. Trump is investing in modeling agencies. Zampoli is a model. Jean-Luc, what's that guy's name?
Brunel. Jean-Luc
Brunel. Another completely suspicious character involved with all of these people. And then in the middle of this, we have, Melania comes to New York. She's a model in New York dealing with all of these people. Yes, but go on. That's just the background to the to.
Well, this is just the background because Zampoli.
Man, this is wild, bro. Bro, if the judge rules in his favor, he said the ruling's coming any day now. If the judge rules in his favor and this guy gets, let me say this again. If he gets discovery on Melania, that fool might mess around and get her. This fool might mess around and get her, like he said, marriage agreement, the prenup agreement, all that information, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Michael Wolff was smarter than any. He came out and sued Melania before she could try to even mess with him, just to make sure he had control if it went forward over the depositions. That would mean that now he's in a position, if the judge rules it a go as far as the case, man, he can have her. He can call her up and there ain't nothing she can do about it. She got to come. Under law, she has to go and testify. And I mean, they'll probably have her in that junk for because sometimes when they do that, they can have you in there for 2 or 3 or 4 days. Right? They can have you in there for 2 or 3 or 4 days. They can have you in there doing a deposition, depending on how many questions, the scope of what they got to ask you, and what you got going on. Man, this is wild work, bro. I would try to tell everybody listen to this video, and I told y'all I got my hands on a lawsuit right now. Hold on, let's keep going.
Ends up having a long relationship with a Brazilian model called Amanda Ngara, with whom he has a child. They then have what appears to be an acrimonious breakup, and it becomes evident that Amanda has overstayed on her visa, and it appears that someone tipped off ICE. She is forced to self-deport back to Brazil in the middle of a custody battle for the son that she has with Zampoli. She then goes on X and, furious, it appears, and again, we're not sure if this is true, but this is one of the big stories that's being talked about out there. She then goes on X and posts that she is furious that Melania hasn't come to her help, that she has been close with Melania's family. There are lots of pictures of them all hanging out together as recently as 2022, and that she's prepared to tell all. Of course, no.
Oh, shit. What? She prepared to tell all on Melania? Oh, shit. Oh, my God. What in the blue hell is going on? She's prepared to tell all on Melania. Oh, my God. This is why the walls are closing in. This is why Melania said the lies. The lies. They're all lies. The fake images. The lies to ruin my character. Who I am. The lies. Oh, my God, man. Bro, y'all smash a like button. This is crazy, bro. How in the hell did I... Bro, this is crazy. Let me play that back again. This is crazy.
Knows what all is or what it refers to, but it's a threatening post. It's a threatening post. Conspiracies going around about why this should happen. One is the case that you have. The second is the strange case of Paolo Zampoli, the owner of a modeling agency, who says, and according to Melania, He says he introduced Melania to Donald Trump at a party he was having. And that is the official version of how they met, as written in her book, Melania. Yes, and Zampoli, of course, had a relationship with Epstein at the time. I mean, this whole the modeling world. I mean, we're right in the middle of this modeling world of the 1990s, the dirty 1990s, and um, and in which everybody kind of knows everybody in this relatively tight knit modeling world. Everybody is investing with everybody. Epstein is investing in modeling agencies. Trump is investing in modeling agencies. Poli is a model. Jean-Luc, what's that guy's name? Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel. Another completely suspicious character involved with all of these people. And then in the middle of this, we have, Melania comes to New York. She's a model in New York dealing with all of these people. Yes, just so. But go on. That's just the background this is just the background, because Pauli ends up having a long relationship with a Brazilian model called Amanda Mgara, with whom he has a child. They then have what appears to be an acrimonious breakup, and it becomes evident that Amanda has overstayed on her visa, and it appears that someone tipped off ICE. She is forced to self-deport back to Brazil in the middle of a custody battle for the son that she has with Zampoli. She then goes on X, and furious, it appears, and again, we're not sure if this is true, but this is one of the big stories that's being talked about out there. She then goes on X and posts that she is furious that Melania hasn't come to her help, that she has been close with Melania's family. There are lots of pictures of them all hanging out together as recently as 2022, and that she's prepared to tell all. Of course, nobody knows what all is or what it refers to, but it's a threatening post. It's a threatening post on X. Okay, but let's deconstruct this. This is a story that has been around for, the better part of 2 months now. It has a story that has gotten almost no traction, social media notice, of course, but certainly is not a substantial story. I mean, it's one it really is a he said, she said, marital complicated story. I mean, it seems terrible. It seems that he dropped the dime on his ex partner, on his child's mother. It seems terrible. But it was also not a story in which anyone was linking Melania to Epstein. So it was a story that was not getting much traction. It was a story that was not linking Melania to Epstein. It was a story that one had no reason to believe would mutate into a major crisis, except now it has. Why? Because she came out and made this announcement. So she has whatever velocity this story now has is all due to her. Well, and then to add another spark.
Man, ain't no way, man. Ain't no way it's another spark, bro. Ain't no way, bro. There ain't no way. This is crazy. Another one? Man, bro, man. Oh my God, bro. What in the world is going on?
Conspiracy fire. Donald Trump then posts a video, or a horrifying video, of a man bludgeoning a woman to death in Florida in a gas station, which he says he's put out to remind people how awful the Democrats are, and that these are the kind of people that the Democrats welcomed into the country. The man in question is a Haitian immigrant. And so the timing of that people read into as somehow a threat from the president himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody is reading everything into anything. So we don't know how is this informing our understanding of why Melania is.
Oh, I get what he's saying. So they're trying to say that they think that Trump posted that thing to, make people kind of know, hey, y'all better back off. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Now, do we know for a fact that's what Trump did? No, we don't. I mean, Trump always kind of just posts crazy stuff. So, but again, I don't believe anything about Donald Trump. I think that Donald Trump is all trouble. That's just my thoughts. Let's keep going.
Suddenly made this announcement. I'm like, well, okay, I don't. Does it tell us anything? Does it get us anywhere? Do we know? I mean, nothing has come out since she made this statement. So all we really still have is the statement. The statement is the news. So if the statement was made to preempt news, it certainly hasn't preempted anything and has rather become the news itself. So now we have, and if this is about Melania's brand, she is the Melania brand is suddenly very much tied to the Epstein story because she tied it. So what is going on here? I think, as things stand now, it seems bad. It seems to most directly track back to Melania's relationship with her husband.
Okay, so we have theories. We have one that she is trying to get ahead of something. It could be related to your own case as the first person to sue a first lady with the New York anti-Slapp suit. So it could also be asking Congress to investigate the Epstein files more because she wants to know about her husband. Because we know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends for at least 15 years and close friends, and you've posited possibly even best friends.
Why would she want to know the truth about her husband? That would be a truth that would be damaging to her husband and therefore damaging to her. Unless
he ain't even hiding it. He said, why would she want to know the truth about her husband? That would be damaging to her husband and damaging to her. This man ain't even hiding. I'm convinced that this man might have something, personally. He interviewed with Jeffrey Epstein way too much for me. He had to have something, bro. I don't know if Epstein might have really confided in this guy and maybe passed some real information to this guy to someday reveal. You never know, man. Because Epstein, he died 2 years later after interviewing this guy. He was dead. Psychological type of work. Man, oh man, oh man, bro.
She doesn't not necessarily want to know the truth. She wants to damage her husband, or she wants to threaten to damage her husband. And remember, we know that this is, to say the least, an unusual marriage. They basically don't live together. This relationship of the president and the first lady fits no pattern of any president and first lady heretofore.
Well, and certainly people in the White House say that when she comes, she's treated as if she were a guest. So
what? Man, she's treated as if she's a guest. Well, I'll be damned, man. These people got so much stuff they're hearing. Melania, again, she says they're all lies, y'all.
It's certainly a peculiar marriage. It's also possible that she lives in a bubble and that she didn't know there were all these things being said about her, and she went down some sort of spiral. Yeah, I mean, she went on a spiral on social media and sort of found all sorts of things and thought, I have to put a stop to this. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true. I don't know how she thought that this would put a stop to it. In Rather than having the opposite effect, is fueling it. But she certainly, seems to have known something, because she sends out these letters all the time.
Man, bro, I'm telling y'all, man. If that judge rule in this guy's favor, bro, it's gonna get disgusting. If that judge rules in his favor and he gets discovery, which means he basically will control many aspects of this case, the deposition question, all that, man.
$1 billion here, $1 billion there.
Because what happens is, you guys, in cases like that, he can demand them, hey, well, we need her prenuptial agreement, we need her certificate, we need this, we need that. He can point to get all those things brought up in court. Why? To help prove his point. So that means he would get her to show those records, to be a part of help proving his point against her. Right? So him jumping out ahead of it and suing her with the anti-slap, it gives him the power. Right?
Billion, give me a billion. But that also indicates that she is very aware. She is trying to stop something. And she's trying to stop something, and we're not absolutely sure what the something is. Right, and she may not be. I think that, other than her general strategy of saying nothing and ignoring everything, which I think has been a basically savvy strategy. I mean, she's never given any indication that she has a deeper strategic sense of how to deal with with the press, and with potential scandals, and with social media. Well, she's just dealt with it by becoming even more unknowing. There is, and you have used this word about her, and it's a great word to describe her: unknowable. She seems unknowable. You watch the documentary of her, and she remains unknowable. You have no idea who her friends are. The only people she talks to are people that are being paid: her designer, her stylist, her florist, her event planner. There's nobody around her, actually, that appears to have any real relationship with her. And it's very clear when they focus on her meeting the president and they're going off to do something together, that they're having a conversation as if they haven't spoken to each other for several days. And she's like, have you spoken to Barron? And he's like, yes, he's a cute kid, as if he doesn't actually have much to do with him. And then she says, he's very smart. So this is not a couple that, at least,
man, they doing a whole lot of digging, man. Damn, bro. They doing a whole lot of digging, bro. I think we're getting close too. I think that's probably the reason why we heard something the other day, man. I think it's real close, y'all. I think that if all the judge got to do is slam that gavel, if he say, hey, man, listen, you know, I'm going, I'm gonna let him go forward. Man, that is going.
According to the documentary that she chose to put out in the world about herself, she's not suggesting there's any intimacy between her and her husband. And at the end of the inauguration, the evening of the inauguration, the one night you think that perhaps the newly elected president...
Did y'all hear what she said? Did y'all hear what she said? She said no intimacy between her and her husband. Wow. What the hell is going on here, man? What is going on? I always did think, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna get a divorce as soon as he isn't eligible for the presidency anymore. I just thought about that all the time. This is crazy, man.
Have conjugal relations with his wife. They very clearly go their own separate ways, as if they've done their duty with each other.
What? Stop this, man.
And now they're separating. He's going off to eat burgers and watch Fox News, and she's going, who knows where she's going.
And if your strategy is to be unknowable, then yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a successful step to get out in front of the cameras and then start to announce all kinds of details which are.
Are y'all listening to this? Are y'all listening to what he's saying? Are y'all listening to what he's saying?
Which many are checkable, many already seem to be contradicted by known evidence. I mean, you have just actually opened the window into asking myriad questions about who you are, what you've been doing, and what the real story is here.
So who do you think, if anybody, advised her on this strategy?
I mean, it's hard to say that because we don't know what the strategy is for. We don't know. We don't know what the point of this is. So it's very hard to say who is advising her in any effort to accomplish that point or goal.
Well, and she may be looking to a life post-Trump. She's much younger than her husband. She's 55. He's soon to turn 80. There's a 25-year age gap between them. So she must be thinking, what am I going to do after this first lady gig is up? Do I want to go and work in fashion? Do I not want to work at all? Do I want to remarry? She doesn't, so she doesn't want to, as you say, go down on the Trump ship if it all ends badly.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously can see that, but still, why would you come out and dare the world to challenge the world to link you to Epstein?
Well, and especially to say that the pictures aren't true and that the pictures are AI, because there are plenty of pictures that are previous to AI had ever been heard of.
Yeah, she did say that. She said she said a lot of pictures was AI. I'm like, what pictures? Like, I need to see the pictures she talking about as AI. Because the pictures I seen on the internet, I didn't think it was AI, but if she's saying it's AI, I would like her to identify which picture she's saying is AI. Because, as I said before, that's strange. That's strange. And now I've seen a couple pictures, like I said before, online. I've seen probably about, I'd say about 5, 6, 7, something like that. Something between the 5 to 7 range. But damn, bro, this right here is, bro, this shit finna get real, bro.
So, very clearly Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. And we saw the letters to and from Ghislaine and Melania in the Epstein files. Ghislaine calling her sweet pea. Melania saying great story about Jeffrey Epstein in New York Magazine.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. I mean, it's. I mean, there's a softness. She's trying to. I mean, this is spin this in a gauzy way. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles in common in New York City and Palm Beach. Now, that doesn't sound like at the same time she's saying, I didn't know Epstein at all, but that certainly doesn't sound like you didn't know Epstein at all.
Right.
It sounds like I'm trying to. I'm trying to do a dance to distance myself from, in fact, knowing Epstein.
And we know that Donald and Jeffrey Epstein were friends and fell out somewhere between 2004, 2005.
Yeah, 2004 they started to. I mean, that was the.
Man, that's crazy, bro. I don't see If that deposition, excuse me, if that judge rules that this dude can get her, get that information where she has to give up discovery, I don't. I think that Donald Trump's gonna snap. I think she gonna be. I think Donald Trump is gonna snap.
The moment. That was the fight over real estate. Exactly. So Melania had been dating Donald Trump for at least 4 years at that point. So Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and Melania overlapped in their relationship history for at least 4 years. Right, 1998. They met, and she says they met in 1998. Although there's a clip of a show, since I've looked at all of this stuff because of this case, in which she says they met in 1997. Again, all of this is this is all a murky area, and the only thing that she has accomplished by this statement, it seems to me, is to throw it up, throw it out there, and have people pin it down.
Oh,
it's really strange. Well, I guess we'll see over the next 2 or 3 weeks if anything comes out. But let's think of this in broader terms, the terms that things are going dramatically wrong for Donald Trump at this point. And they think, and there could be parallel tracks. They're going wrong in the war. They're going wrong from the country, going wrong in terms of heading into the midterms elections. It's quite possible that they're going wrong in terms of his marriage, or that all of these things become linked, as they do with everyone. When one thing goes wrong, other things goes wrong. And she is now stepping into the middle of this. So what she is doing, and I think we can safely say this, what she has done is not without meaning. It means something. It is to some purpose. What that purpose might be, we don't yet know, but it could very well be the personal in an interfacing of the personal and the political. Have we had a president get divorced in the White House? I don't think we have we? Well, we do. We can safely say not in the modern in the modern era. All presidents and first ladies have endeavored to appear as though they have happy and traditional marriages. What a pressure for any couple to survive under that absolutely appalling microscope. But and again, and I think this is really important. I think this is going to be a theme that we're going to see more of. She is trying to distance herself. She is trying to build a separate business. She is trying to come out of this experience, the experience of being the first lady, ahead of the game instead of behind the game, which with Donald Trump is always possible. Okay, well, Michael, obviously we'll be paying close attention.
Man, this is crazy. So then I got my hands on the actual lawsuit because I wanted to see what in the blue hell is in the lawsuit. And you know what I saw that's in the lawsuit? I'll tell you what I saw, right? Michael Wolff. Again, he filed this lawsuit in October of last year. It's been going on behind the scenes this whole time. It says, to the above named defendant, Melania Trump, you are hereby summoned to answer the complaint in this action and to serve a copy of your answer on the attorney's plaintiff within 20 days after the service of this summons. Now remember, he had a hard time trying to get her served, right? I want to talk about this because this is a 23-page lawsuit, but I want to skip to some of the best parts, right? Um, he talks about how they sent him that letter. Melania and them tried to, send him, I guess, a demand letter, a threat letter, or something like that. He tried to say a letter. They sent him a letter, a threat letter is what he wrote in this lawsuit, right? Um, Let me see. He say, um, let me see. Jurisdiction. Okay, the facts. Let me see. Okay, count one. Let me get to the count one. So he says the first group of allegedly defamatory statements are incomplete phrases quoted from Mr. Wolf's Daily Beast interviews. Mr. Wolf did not write the article. These statements are not just incomplete references to Mr. Wolf said in context of his interview, but are taken out of context of the article in which they appeared. They are thus doubtedly out of context. That is the standard fare for a slap action. Statement one, Melania very involved in Epstein scandal, author. The positive defects in the claim, right? He said the headline of the subheading was not written by Mr. Wolf, but they make very clear that Mrs. Trump's involvement with the Epstein scandal is in presently managing the matter behind the scenes. It does not say that Mrs. Trump was involved with any of Mr. Epstein's past crimes. Mr. Trump's counsel takes the headline out of context in order to twist its implication and give a different meaning. In all events, Mr. Wolf did not write the headline, right? So he goes on to say they took his statement out of context, filed a threat letter, failed to present it in full context. It says the threat letter fails to present it in full context to the Daily Beast article. Mrs. Trump's counsel misleadingly removes reference to the headline's subheading that states the First Lady has largely avoided the hot topic, but Trump biographer Michael Wolff suggests that she's acting behind the scenes. Thus, it's clear in context that she is involved in the White House management of the present Epstein inquiry, right? From a reading of the Daily Beast article, it might suggest that Mrs. Trump was involved in Epstein's social circle, which is true of many people who knew Jeffrey Epstein. It is not defamatory to say that Mrs. Trump is actively managing the present White House response to the controversy, nor is it defamatory to say that Mrs. Trump was involved in Epstein's rather expansive social circle. Mr. Wolf did not write the headline or article. Items I and items 1 and items 2 are both true, and Mrs. Trump cannot prove them to be untrue. Mrs. Trump cannot prove actual malice. She can't prove with clear and convincing evidence that Mr. Wolf did not believe the statements to be true. The statement in proper context is one of opinion and hypothesis based on disclosed facts and broader context. Damn. Statement two, First Lady Melania could be the missing link in President Trump's ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The positive defects in the claim. The claim fails to present statement two as the full context of the Daily Beast article. It is not defamatory to suggest that Mr. Trump could have information about her husband, Mr. Epstein, or her associates that will provide important information regarding both men. The statement in proper context is one of opinion and hypothesis based on disclosed facts and also the broader context. Also, if the statement were factual in any measure, it is fair and accurate. Mrs. Trump cannot prove it to be untrue. Mrs. Trump cannot prove that actual malice as to that statement. she cannot prove with clear, convincing evidence that Mr. Trump, Mr. Wolf, I should say, did not believe that statement to be true. Mr. Wolf did not write the article. Man, this is crazy, bro. He's going through all these statements. He's going through all these statements. So he's basically knocking down all the statements that I guess she's saying he said that was defamatory. Right? So also, the quote, he put down this quote too: this sham marriage, trophy marriage, hardly any marriage, is all part of a scam. He said it's out of its full and fair context. Plain statement of non-actionable opinion on his face. Statement of opinion as read in full context, fair and justified, he said. Damn. Hold on, what does this say? What? Hold on. Let me finish this. What? Yeah, man. He hitting them with the anti-slap, y'all. You know what I mean? Damn right. Yeah, bro. It's a lot that's going to have to come out in Discovery, man. Oh, he put Exhibit A down here and everything. Let me see this. What? Oh, okay. He's showing that he got served. Ah, he's showing he got served. Okay, he put that down there. Man. They told this man, if you don't comply, they told him he's on notice. And he went and sued them. Damn. Damn. And they talking about suing him for over $1 billion. How can you sue somebody for more money than what they worth? Man, ain't even worth it. Is Michael Wolff? Hold on, Michael Wolff. I don't know. I can't say that. I can't say that because I didn't check his net worth. I can't say that. That's crazy, bro. Yeah, man. So it's out now. Michael Wolff is suing Melania Trump. The lawsuit is out here. He is suing Melania Trump with the anti-slap laws. And basically, he said a ruling is coming up shortly to whether or not he can, start with the, with Discovery, man. So he said he doesn't think he doubts the case is getting dismissed. So, yeah, man, it's getting spooky out here, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I didn't even know that whole lawsuit was going on till today. Not a lot of people know. No, nobody's really talking about it. But Melania saying what she said, now everybody is talking about her again. When nobody was talking about her at all. Like, bro, there got to be some shit going on behind the scenes. Definitely.
Hey guys, Ticket really hopes you enjoyed the content. There will be a link in the description box and pinned at the top of the chat room where you can go to the Ticket TV merch shop and purchase the exclusive merchandise for men and women. Thanks for your support, and he appreciates all sales.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure y'all click those links below. Subscribe to the podcast show. You can donate support to the channel, Cash App, PayPal, or buy that weight loss formula. All the links are below. Peace.